Faisal has been making music professionally for over a decade now. His latest album is the culmination of a trilogy. It's called Grok Finale. Faisal, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing excellent, Ray. Thank you very much for having me on, man. It's a pleasure and it's an honor, man. I've been excited to do this for a very long time.
All right. Some background for people who don't know. You were not born in Indy, I don't think. So how did you land here?
Right. So I was actually born from Indy.
Oh, you were? Okay.
But however, my father was in the military, so we moved from all over from different parts of the world. I like to say that I'm raised from the greatest parts of the world. I lived in California for a time. I lived in New York for a time. I lived in Hawaii for a time, if you could believe it, as well as Texas and a variety of other states.
Well, the military will do that to you.
Yes, absolutely.
So how'd you end up back in Indy?
So unfortunately, my father passed when I was 12 years old, and we decided we needed to come back home to where family was so that we can develop our brains and just be emotionally attached to people within us that would understand that loss. And it was hard for a while, man. You know what I'm saying? I still think about him a lot. You know, it's one of those things that's just kind of heavy as you go through life. You know, you're wondering, like, if he's proud of you or not, or if what he could have taught you to get in better positions in your life, you know, and how life would have been differently if he was still present, you know. But all in all, though, man, like, I'm glad to be home. You know, I love home. So, but it is one of those things, man, you kind of just take with a grain of salt as far as just like, you know, being raised everywhere, because, you know, you get to see different cultures and see how other people are raised and how different states coordinate different things when you're in your youth. So, yeah, I mean, you know, we back here with it.
Now, this album is called Grok Finale. Grok is a character you've mentioned a lot in your career. Who is Grok, for people who don't know?
Right. So Grok is a tethered version of myself. So whenever I do albums, I create characters that are not necessarily alter egos, but tethered versions of myself in alternate realities that I've created. So Grok is one of those characters. His full name is actually Xavier Grok, is what it actually is. And He is a industry entertainment worker that was signed into a very bad deal, and, you know, ultimately the trilogy is about him getting out of that deal and living in his fullest self. But each trilogy highlights a different aspect of that journey, almost kind of like a hero's journey type of situation, you know. And Finale encompasses just like what it means to have it all and then lose it all is what it's really all about.
I don't give a about your feelings. Say what you want. I don't hear a thing.
There's a lot of different central themes within the album, a lot of it dealing with purpose, a lot of it dealing with what's more important, fame or love, and just a variety of different things culminated into that album. But I will say that, like, Grok as a character is pretty much who I envision myself as far as the entertainment goes. I would say he's the greatest entertainer in his field, but he doesn't get the respect or the flowers he deserves for it, is what I would say.
Now, how does that relate to the clown makeup that people, if they've seen your album covers or seen you, they'll see you with the clown makeup sometime? What's behind the clown makeup?
Right. So, you know, Grok is seen as kind of like a decorated clown in a sense, right? And it's kind of like a turn on an insult that was told to me within the scene. When I was first coming up, I was called a joke. I was called a clown. I was told not to be taken seriously. So I decided to take that and flip the insult. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to show you that this clown could do everything that you do, but better, you know? And, like, I figured, like, you know, if I do that, I can hurt them more than they hurt me. You know what I mean?
Why are there that's something that strikes me about hip-hop. There are so many songs and so many albums about people feeling that kind of disrespect and their pushback on it. I mean, why do you think there's so much disrespect out there? Because, I mean, everybody seems to have at least one record saying, you said this about me and now I'm going to show you.
It's all about just getting respect. Hip hop is about respect. That's what it really, like, stems from, you know? So people want their respect, and when they feel disrespected, it's one of those things where they just feel like they have to get it out there that, like, yo, I'm not to be taken, like, unseriously in that field, you know? Especially if you do this for a living, or if you do this in hopes of, like, it being a full-time career one time in your, you know, in your future. So, you know, you just can't you can't rock with disrespect by any means. So, you know, hip hop is a verbal art form. You know what I mean? So, you know, when something's said, when rocks are thrown, you either, like, respond or people look down upon you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's a song on your album, and I wanted to especially mention this one because it was a song I heard, I believe, before the album came out. It's called Safe. Mm-hmm. And as we are recording this, we're coming out of a weekend in which I believe at least 20 people were shot around Indianapolis this past weekend. It was just one of those weekends that we have sometimes here in central Indiana. what is the meaning of the song "Safe"? And I don't know. It just struck me listening to that today, especially based on the theme of the song, based on the words that you added in there.
Yeah, man. Safe came from a very personal perspective of just like things that I've experienced within indie. We lose people all the time. You just never know, you know. I wrote the song from the perspective of my late mentor, who also passed away from gun violence. His name was Richard Noel, aka Rico V, back in 2015. And you know, I wrote Safe, you know, kind of just as a trauma, response in a sense. I wrote it after experiencing a near-death experience with my brother Dorian Mays of Shui Clothing. We actually were shot at multiple times, and he's rendered unable to walk right now. And I was grazed, but like in the grand scheme of things, compared to his situation, it's a lot more dire. I just remember going over there to literally pick up samples for a clothing company. And, you know, one thing led to another, man, and an altercation popped off where somebody was actively shooting through the house. And, you know, I literally had to call 911 and army crawl to get a towel to apply pressure to his wounds so that he would survive, you know. It was just a traumatic moment, man. But, you know, at the end of the day, you know, after weeks went by of him just being in the hospital, I finally got to talk on the phone with him. And all we could say was just like, yo, we made it home, bro. Like, we made it home safe.
Did you make it home safe? There's a time and there's a place. We got beef, we'll set it straight. Did you make it home safe?
How tough was it to put something like that on an album out there for the public's consumption?
I think it's required, man. It's like I needed to get it off, you know, somehow. I know that, you know, people of my background struggle with like mental health and struggle with going to therapy. And, you know, I think that we use other outlets as a means of our therapy. And I think music is one of those therapies for me, you know. And I felt like it helped me, you know, internally feel like I can like make this message like available for the public so that it may, you know, resonate with people who have been through similar things. And I know that they have, because it's not, bro. Everybody's lost somebody. Like it's powerful, you know. It's one of those things where I feel like no matter who you are, in some capacity, you can understand. Because in that, like, it's ingrained in our heads. It's ingrained in our heads, Ray, to ask each other, yo, like, text me when you're home safe. Like, let me know, did you make it home safe? And if we don't follow up, we're usually like, yo, did you make it home safe?
Yeah.
You know? So I think that that's something that I feel like we as a sub guys and we as a culture can just, like, get behind, you know? And, like, I created it for myself, but I also created it for people who I feel like could resonate with it, you know?
How do you define success with this album, with your career? Because I read your social media. You seem like you're in a good place with everything right now. How do you determine whether this album is a success? I mean, what standard is success, really?
Man, success is subjective, man. You know, at the end of the day, everybody views success from a different lens, man. Me personally, as long as you're listening, I feel like that's a success in my end. That's a dub in my end. When you're dealing with the realm of local music, you have to take every dub, every milestone into consideration. You have to be happy about those things, because if you're not happy about them, then who else is going to care? You know, I feel like success is a medium where it's just like you have to appreciate all that you've done within your personal sub guys before you can just be like, oh, like, I'm not successful. You know what I mean? A lot of people see monetary gain being just like the success point or their end all be all. I don't necessarily see it like that. I see success as like me even being here talking with you is a major double mind. I've never got to do this before, so it's a success to me, and it's something that I would put into my books as being a win. You know what I mean? A dub for sure. I've been getting booked out of state ever since the album drops, and we got a show in Nashville in September. We got another show in New York in November. I'm just excited for, like, you know, the rollout and how everything has been coming from, like, the love, the compliments, the yo, this song really helped me get through the day. You know what I'm saying? Like, this song is a song I'm riding out to at night. Like, it's just like a variety, because, like, you know, I created Grok with the spectrum of sounds, bro. There's a whole variety of sounds on that album. So, like, people telling me, like, what their different favorites are and, like, seeing the different perspectives on everything it's a beautiful thing, bro, and that's what I consider success as far as the album goes, you know. But yeah, man, I mean, I love it. I love it.
Well, Faisal, it's been my pleasure to have you on. Thanks for coming by.
Oh, thank you very much, Ray. It's been a pleasure.
Listen, I hope you understand this. Hopefully you heard me. My words are sent to comfort, embrace you. You're not near me, can't deny me. So if I write this letter, don't deny me. And if I disappear, will you promise you will find me?
Faisal's new album is called Grok Finale. It's available wherever you get your music.
Can't you tell that I miss you while I'm rolling?